Do you feel helpless in the current world in 2025 with the current politicians, with the prices, with not knowing if you're going to have a roof over your head, and like this feeling of powerlessness? Yeah. What if I told you if it's by design? What if I told you if the powerful want you to feel hopeless, like you can't change anything, like everything is bad? Violence and chaos all dominate our news. There are weird politicians popping up everywhere. And every day we see more reasons to believe that there's nothing we can do. But uh, you need to literally look at it in a different way. If they make you feel like that, it means they're afraid that we, the people, have the power. I'm a writer. My name is Sveta, and I'm very good at being happy. I write songs, I write books. I don't give people watered down, generic, positive content. I don't give like 10 lists of this and that and the other. I only give people the things that work for me, that I use in my daily life to train the happiness muscle. So we feel learned helplessness, that feeling when no matter what we do, it's not going to matter. It's very convenient for politicians because people who think they can't change anything don't try to change anything and basically hide their head in the sand all day long. And it's easy to make people like that vulnerable and manipulate them at the right moment because it's fear that drives us. Basically, we're animals. So, in this environment, being happy is very difficult. But hiding from things is the opposite of happiness, it's avoidance. Happiness is about finding solutions to the problems, and there is your purpose. The little actions you take to contribute to the solution is your purpose. So, that's where I find myself. I get up in the morning like so happy to start doing stuff because I know that it contributes to the solution. So, yeah, the lies we are being told is nothing will ever change no matter what you do. And the most painful thing is that a lot of this stuff comes from so-called spiritual people. They tell you to just let them do whatever, agree to disagree. We have to just let go of things. We have to forgive, and all this toxic positivity, these narratives that skew the truth in order to serve the most powerful. So this literally gives them all the power they need because if you don't believe something is going to work, you're not going to do it. And the other side is cynicism, like everyone is in power is corrupt, all of these people are crooks, you're not going to be able to influence anyone. Like, but in history we see that so many politicians were actually good. Not a lot of them survived. No, that's a bad sign, but like there were politicians and influencers who were amazing. So the first trick is to understand that change isn't like this grand big thing, like a huge shift. Change starts with a little tiny changes that you do on a daily basis, little actions that you take. Like if you want to lose weight, you have to take 57 million different actions, like eating better, drinking more water, and walking more. Those are all small actions, and then they're going to bring you over time to big change. So like I'm literally over these narratives of these gurus like, oh, don't think about your pain body. Like Eckhart Tolle says, like, oh, don't think about all the bad that happened in history to your nation. Like if I don't think about that, I'm not going to learn from history. That's literally childlike behavior, hiding under the blanket or hiding in your closet and pretending that it's not happening. Oh, that's not adult thinking. That is not like, it is not conducive of change. Like you're never going to change anything if you feel that way. So yeah, that's just my mood today. I wanted to rant about it. But this is the bad news. The good news is that people in power and elites know that we are powerful just by numbers. There's billions of us literally, and they are afraid and need to make us feel powerless so that they can move us around like the little chess figures on the board. So one example that inspires me like so much is a guy from, I'm going to write his name here on the, I don't want to butcher it, from a village in Bihar, India, who lived near a huge, massive mountain, and the nearby towns, you had to go around that mountain to access the schools, the services, the hospitals and stuff. And one day his wife fell ill and she required immediate medical attention. And the nearest hospital was 55 kilometers away. I don't want to get emotional. I'm PMSing, but like what happened was a tragedy because like they couldn't take her there basically, and she perished. And this guy worked for 22 years. He just like chipped away at the mountain from 1960 to 1982, and he literally built a way through a pathway. And so all the people in the village didn't have to wait for hours and see their loved ones died. They could just like go through that road pathway through the mountain that this guy built. And yeah, now it's just 15 kilometers, which is doable for people. And it wasn't a dude who was like virtue signaling, or he didn't fall into depression. He didn't hide under his bed, just like pretending the world doesn't exist. He looked at the mountain. The mountain was the problem. He looked at the mountain, like face that problem. And he was like, okay, so let's get to work. And he got to work. And it took 22 years. But it literally proves that one single person can literally change reality. And he didn't change it just in the memory of his wife, but he like created happiness and a sense of, oh, we're good for the villagers and for the people. He connected this village to the world, changing it. So I want you to think today of the power in you. Like, you need to understand that these billionaires, these tech giants, these companies, insurance companies, these politicians, these people in power, these industrial complexes are literally using the best psych op tech behind them to make us small, to make us little, to make us feel like we're nothing, because they're terrified, because we have free access to information, because now we can go on Coursera and learn many, many things for not much money. And literally, if you want to do something, you want to learn something, you can go and do it. You can learn a new language now. And they know this, that we are, as never before in history, connected to information, connected to wisdom, connected to tools that can make us actually unite and go and do shit. And they're terrified. I want you to understand that you should not let any of those forces dictate what you need to do. Like, I'm sitting in a blanket because I'd rather sit in a blanket and require less money in a month to live on so I can have groceries, but my groceries are going to be so limited as well. I'm going to eat healthy, but they're going to be limited. There's not going to be anything extra in them because I don't want my corporate job to hold me hostage. I want to be free and I want to be happy. And I'm doing these little things. So in the description of this video, I added a template that you can fill in. And like an example that I'm going to give is, so it's a table that has three columns in it. The first one is the big, huge problem that worries you, that is important to you, for example. The second is a big solution that is unattainable for a small person like you, like a big, abstract, generic solution. And the third column is the actions that you can take on a daily basis. So, for example, if I'm seeing politicians that are creating hurtful, harmful policies for people like me, so it resonates with me, for example, like I see that politician. What is the big solution? The big solution is to educate people on what the policies are. Not like, oh, I like this guy because he seems to say like all these ABC things and he seems to promise so much. No, we're looking at what are they going to implement. So education, yeah. Can you access this? No, you're not an anchor on CNN. You don't control big, huge narratives. What can you do? You can educate people in your life. You can support and only support independent media. You can start your own independent media and never think that your little blog or my little channel on TikTok or whatever, or YouTube, is not going to change anything. It literally has the ability. Everyone who started a little business, an initiative, an idea, they didn't know that it was going to blow up. This is going to change something. Like, I don't think that the guy who worked for 22, okay, like if when he worked for 10 years, he already saw that the gap is becoming bigger. But at first, like, I'm sure there were plenty of people who thought he was literally insane because he had a hammer in his hand and a huge mountain in front of him. Like, it's literally the stuff of anecdotes, the stuff of what people laugh at. You can start your own media today. It's the best time. If you have a phone that is like even 10 years old, no one cares now about the quality of your camera, even the sound. Like I'm using this, I don't know how much this costs, $10, but it's better sound than just like a regular phone recording. You can do it. Start with doing those things, okay? Like educate the people around you, talk about it. Like, this PC culture, when we're not, well, Americans were not allowed to talk about so many things. It was like a list of taboos that you were not supposed to talk about because it's rude. Like, you came to a party, remember, like this thought-stopping cliche, like, oh, you must be fun at a party. Like, and for decades, Americans didn't talk. And so everybody believed in their head because you didn't know who you're living next to. Are you living next to a nice person, or are you living next to a person that's gonna rat you out, that's gonna take away your rights, that's gonna put you in a camp somewhere? Yeah, you didn't know that because we didn't talk. We were not allowed to talk. Like when I came to Poland, I signed up for some dating apps because in Belarus, all of them were under sanctions and I couldn't use them. And I started going on dates, but most of the time I just started talking to people. Like I very rarely go on dates. And in the conversations, I asked people about the most important things to me. Like, what is your position on this? How do you feel about being rich? Do you want to be to have a lot of money? Are you an atheist? What God do you believe in? Those are relationship forming things and aspects that are going to determine whether your relationship is going to tank or it's going to be successful. And the majority of people would get so mad and be like, what does it have to do with dating? What does it have to do with this? Like, this is a taboo subject. Let's not talk about politics. Let's talk about how pretty your lips are. You know, absolute. Can you imagine the stupidity behind that? Why would I want to waste my time with a person that I know I'm not going to have anything in common with, and most importantly, not have values in common with? But yet, this is what we were trained to do because of PC culture. Oh, no, 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 no. Let's go on dates, but I'm actually going to vote for your ass because I'm an immigrant to be sent back and go to jail in Belarus. But let's go on dates and let's talk about how cute you are and how sexy you are and this and that and the other. Absolute ridiculousness. Like we have been so conditioned to not to avoid all of this or avoid all of these sharp edges. No, you need to like if 2025 is the time for us to realize that we're not helpless, we're not hopeless, we're full of power and we can take it back. And we will talk about what we want to talk about. Don't let anyone tell you what to do, what to think. So you can actually do those things. I want you to do that exercise, and I'm going to do it as well, and maybe record just an update on this. So yeah, it was long and winded. And this channel, I do not talk about, oh, you're going to be happy if. This is about more exercising and doing the actual exercises. Like I right now I'm very unhappy about like I care about the environment, but my recycling game is ridiculous. So this is what I'm going to do. Like I do care about the environment. I know what the solutions are, but knowing is not enough. You have to actually do it. And I don't want to be this hypocritical biatch who just whines about those things and then I don't do anything like that in my private life. So my goal this week and focus is on setting up my recycling station. I'm done being like I have all this guilt and I know that I'm literally preaching it, but I'm not doing it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do updates on that. So on this channel, we hack your brain to get happy and be happy. I'm right now in training. I'm doing a Yale course in well-being. It's very interesting. Many tests, many exercises that I'm going to bring to the channel as well. And after I do this Yale course, I'm going to do another one. It's all in happiness. And then I want to get my certification as a happiness coach. So I'm really serious about this because 2025 is very difficult. This is going to be a hard year for a lot of people for many good reasons. Like we have good reasons to be unhappy, but I want you to understand that those outside events you cannot control, but what happens in your each internal environment, you have the power to change that. So let's change it together. Love always. The template is in the description and the gist to this video. It was a ramble. I can't stay to the script. I can't do it. I'm too real for that shit.